seal is sized to that smaller dimension, and it should hopefully just snap in place. Plus we have those studs sticking out that'll hold us. Folder it.
I want it right just above those studs. Yep.
That's not going anywhere. We can probably let it sit there. All right, and again, usually it's pretty typical that these things will stay in place while you're putting the bands in. This one does have a little bit of a diameter differential. The frame is larger than the opening, so we actually use a larger band in the top. This band is a 32-inch band. It goes down to 31 and goes all the way up to 32 and a half. 33 and a half, excuse me. Each band has a 2.5-inch diameter range within the adjustment slots. The lower band will be a 30-inch, and again the 30 will go from 29 up to 31 and a half. So it's got a full 2.5 diameter inches of range. The main thing is getting the rubber size to the proper size opening, the smallest size opening, and then using the bands to get into diameter differentials or other things that might be present in the manhole. What's that? Yeah, watch out for the traffic routing. You don't want any fatalities. This is a band lubricant. It's just like pipe gasket lube that you'd use on PVC pipe or concrete pipe. What the purpose of this is to allow the band to slide on the rubber when you're expanding it out. If you don't use the lubricant, the band will bind up on the rubber. It'll feel like it's getting tight, and really all it's doing is bunching up the rubber, and then over time the rubber will regain some memory and the band could potentially loosen up. So just a real light coating of that material on the outside of each band is all that's needed. Come on up. Just a little bit. Now, to put the band in, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You got a nice big frame here, you could corkscrew it in. I find it's easy just to pull it down inside of itself and drop it in to the top band channel and then let it expand out into the slot. Now this tool connects, there's actually slots in the band where that tool is going to connect. One on the overlapping side and the other one, depending upon the size of the band, is going to kind of determine which one of these slots you end up putting the tool into to expand it out. The reason these are out here is when we put this larger band in, sometimes you end up being way out here, so you need to be able to kind of do it a two-step expansion. The band will expand out, catch here, then you can take the tool out, close it back up, and reposition it and expand another full 2.5 inches. This just so that it's just, I don't want it way up, I want it just so it's going to catch the lower edge of that frame. It should eventually just sit there because there's a shelf there. Now I'm in that adjustment slot, and it's going to start clicking out across these until it starts to tighten up and compress that rubber. And you're going to get to a point where you feel like you can't move it anymore. What I'm going to do is close this tool up and get closer to the next slot. But a lot of times if you let this thing sit for 30 or 40 seconds, that rubber will take some memory, and then you can usually get another set of clicks out of it to get it in there as tight as you can. Obviously with the hydraulic tool, where this tool is more of a feel, the hydraulic tool, we do have a pressure setting. Yeah, see, that's tight. That ain't going anywhere. Generally what you want to do is maximize the coverage. You can put it anywhere you want. I want to try to get that bottom band as far down as I can and still allow some flexibility in the seal. If you pull that seal out all the way flat and it moves, it starts to stretch the rubber. We want it to be a little bit relaxed so that when it moves, it can, fluctuate with movement. It really doesn't, we've got some castings that are 6, 7, 8, 10 inches tall, and in those cases you want to try to put that band in the lower 3 inches of the frame. If you don't have any grade rings on it, then you could cinch it up farther into the top of the casting. It really doesn't matter at that point.
Those ones are made custom stuff.
They actually come in 4 different heights. One that'll span 0 to 6 inches of grade rings. This one is a 6 to 12. We make one 12 to 18, and we also make one that'll go from 18 to 24. So a very tall one. And then the diameter would be, selected based on the diameter of your structures.
So a lot of our chambers are this kind of configuration, usually with the taller chimneys.
Yep.
Can we order like a standard, just have different lengths?
Correct. You would order all, like what I'm seeing here, 30-inch seals with 30-inch lower bands and a 32-inch upper band. And then if you ordered, some of each different heights, again, to cover your most typical application, if it's like this one, 6 to 12. So. And with a deck, what the deck does is it affords you the ability to put that bottom band wherever you want. So if you need to pull it down a little more, you can.
Okay, so we wouldn't need to measure everyone like we did this?
No. It'd be nice to kind of, for your own information, to have an idea. But again, knowing that there's a standard frame and a standard diameter structure and ring, that simplifies it. Then all you're looking for is basically the dimension from the top of the deck, not the underside of the deck. We want, where that last grade ring is sitting on the deck to the bottom of the frame. So the actual number of grade rings, if it's 4 inches, 6 inches, 10 inches, whatever, that's the critical distance.
Okay.
That will allow you to then choose the appropriate seal based on that height. They're all labeled, like that one says 6-12. The other one will be 12-18. So you're going to have, you want at least 6 inches of rings, or you're going to have way too much material to cover the height. Plus, you're spending money on material you don't need.
Right.
But you want between that range.
Flexibility.
Correct. Correct.
That makes it.
So it is a pretty simple. That when you look at that dimension, the drawing that we asked for those dimensions. Keep in mind that we do a lot of sewer rehab where virtually every manhole might be different. In new construction or standardized construction, it really simplifies the process of getting those dimensions. Like where I'm from in southeast Wisconsin, they have a standard spec. Everything, all the sewer manholes are 26-inch chimneys and cones and 26-inch ID frames. We use a 26-inch seal, and then the variable is only the height of the grade rings.
Okay. Yep. No, that'll work.
So
We do have some smaller, older ones.
Sure.
But the majority of ours is
and again, we make these things all the way down to 20 inch. As large as I've done some big pump station vaults for Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. They use a 48-inch seal. You know, well, they got to get their pumps, you know, everything in and out of the structure.
So this fish, once that seals, okay, what happens to the water goes in there?
It's trapped there, and it can migrate in and out. If there's water there in the winter and it freezes, it might, you know, push the seal in a little bit. We've had these seals in use in cold climates in the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas for over 30 years. We've not seen any issues as far as structure degradation or any issues with that water, you know, being trapped in there. Go through a dry period of the year, there probably won't be any water there because it either evaporated or migrated back out through the crack that it came in. If you came out here immediately following a rain event or something, you're more than likely going to see water trapped behind that seal.
Yeah. So like if there's water in there, it freezes, it's not going to split?
No. No, the rubber, the seal, yeah, because the rubber is so much more flexible.
Unless you have it too tight.
Yeah, but even then, the rubber, I mean, this rubber it's got 350% minimum elongation. It'll actually, we typically see 500 to 600% elongation, so the rubber itself will actually stretch quite a bit. And any water that's in there, the expansion rate of the water isn't going to have a dramatic effect on the rubber.
Are you able to release these bands and reuse them again?
Yes, and I'll show you how to do that if you'd like me to. So I'm going to put this lower band in.